Welcome back to another episode of the Casey Campbell podcast. Casey Campbell with you, of course. Pleased to be joined by the 2023 winner of the Mazda MX-5 Scholarship Shootout in its Westin Workman. How's it going, buddy?
I'm doing great, Casey. How are you? Thank you for having me.
Hey, no problem. Thanks for coming on. Winning that whole deal a few weeks ago. What was that just like to do?
I mean, it was really just a true triumph for me, right? So similar to Nate, we both went through the Spec MX5 scholarship as well, so we won it the same year. And I was part of the inaugural Spec MX5 shootout. I didn't get it that year, and then came back the second year and won that with Nate. And then I competed in the MX5 Cup scholarship last year, didn't get it, and it was kind of a similar thing to Spec MX5. I kind of used it as motivation and fuel for this year. I improved on what I needed to improve on this year and then ended up winning it this year. I really just gave it my all out on the track and off the track.
Okay, typically when drivers come on here for the first time, usually it's just introduce yourself and
Mhm.
kind of just give a background. How'd you get into racing and all that?
So I'm Westin Workman. I'm from Charlotte, North Carolina. I'm a student here at UNC Charlotte. I'm studying motorsports engineering. So I got my start in karting, indoor karting actually. So it was really just from a young age. My dad was always in the cars and he kind of wanted to race as a young kid, but he never really had the opportunities that I had and the funding. He was actually a D1 hockey player in college. But back to me, he always had a love for cars, and then he got me into cars at a very young age. I mean, I was naming all the cars on the street before I could really say mommy and daddy. Um, and then I started indoor karting at a track near me called Victory Lane. Great program. We did the youth leagues there, and then eventually moved to outdoor karting. And then I got noticed by eKarting News, who's like the main news anchor for karting in the U.S. And then they had actually provided my name to Mazda Motorsports. And then, like I said, I was a part of the inaugural Spec MX5 shootout, and then it just kind of all spiraled from there. So we did a year in Spec MX5 this year. We had a great year. Also did Spec MX5 last year, and then moving up the ranks next year.
Okay. So let's talking about like, getting to be, getting into motorsports and being in college
Mm-hmm.
student and UNC Charlotte, where a lot of drivers have gone in the past and
Right.
a lot of drivers currently go.
Right. Yeah.
Some that race in the IndyCar ladders, some that
Hmm.
currently race in NASCAR have gone there. What's
Hmm.
that just like to just experience, being down in pretty much the motorsports capital of the world
Yeah.
well, I shouldn't say that. Obviously, in the NASCAR motorsports capital of the world,
Hmm.
of course, and you got Indianapolis up there too. But what's it like being around, in that area to be around a lot of NASCAR teams and all that?
Yeah. So I'm very lucky to be from Charlotte, North Carolina. It was kind of just like uh a very fortunate thing. So my parents moved here, and then I was born here, and then it just kind of ended up being what I'm pursuing right now. All the NASCAR teams are here. UNC Charlotte. So UNC Charlotte is only about 20 minutes from my house, and it's just a very lucky thing where they offer the motorsports program, and that's what I'm trying to pursue. Um, and they also have the Formula SAE program as well, which I plan to get into later on down the line. But it's been a great experience here at UNC Charlotte. It's been kind of hard to balance school and racing, and I think it's going to be even harder next year. So we're just trying to work all that out. Like I said, I'm doing motorsports engineering, so a lot of the stuff that I'm learning in school, I can actually apply to racing and on the track and off the track as well. So with the motorsports engineering program, they offer so it's a mechanical engineering degree, but it's a concentration in motorsports. So there's aerodynamics classes, tire dynamics, um, road vehicle dynamics. There's just a lot of specialized classes that relate to motorsports and vehicles that provide that concentration to be able to do motorsports engineering at UNC Charlotte. And it was just a very fortunate thing that it was close to here. I'm only about 20 minutes from the house, like I said. Um, And then yeah, so also being here, I'm pretty central to most of the tracks that I race at. So I do a lot of testing down at Carolina Motorsports Park, and that's only about an hour and a half away. And then there's a lot of races at VIR up north as well, which is only about 2 hours away. So we're pretty central to those two main tracks, and those are the tracks that I have the racetracks that I have the most laps at. And then relating to karting, um, Trackhouse Motorplex, which used to be GoPro Motorplex, is only about 30 minutes, and that's where I got my start outdoor karting. And it's one of the best karting facilities in the U.S. And like I said, it just keeps going back to being lucky and being in a great spot and position in the country.
Got to be in the right place at the right time.
Right, exactly.
So you talking about your plans for next year. What are they?
So right now, MX5 Cup and GR Cup. So we're gonna be pretty busy next year. Um, Trying to figure out all the logistics on the MX5 Cup side relating to team, rent a car, buy a car. There's a lot of things we still have to figure out, and the season's coming up quick, right? So we have the first race in late January at Daytona, and then
Yep.
there's also a series test in Sebring that the dates haven't been released for yet. Um, so we're just trying to figure out all those things because that series test is next month, so we kind of have to figure out our car situation and our team situation to try to make it down there for that because we're also testing the new tires, the Michelin tires that we're going to be on for next year in MX5 Cup.
Yeah. So just kind of talk about like, what sort, things that you're, most looking forward to because you're going to be at, all different kinds of tracks, coming up with, an MX5 and even GR Cup. You got, of course, Daytona, Road America.
Mm-hmm.
I believe you're back at Mid Ohio. You're back at.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Yeah.
what's that going to be like going to different tracks all across the country?
It'll be really cool. So I've been very fortunate to run with Spec MX5, and they kind of hit all the bucket list tracks. That was their goal to provide these racers who are coming up through the ranks, give them experience at these bucket list tracks. So when they go to a pro series like MX5 Cup, we have experience and we know what to do, set up knowledge and all that. So I think really the only two tracks that I haven't been to on the MX5 Cup schedule are Mossport and Laguna Seca. So those will be new tracks for me. I'm really excited to go to those, especially going to Canada and California. I've been to Canada before, but obviously not for racing. I've never been to California before, so that should be a really cool experience. But yeah, I'm really excited to go to those two new tracks. But all the other tracks I've been to, so like I said, I've been really lucky to run the Spec MX5 these past 2 years, and they've offered me the experience to be at those bucket list tracks.
So where do you, like I know you've gotten this question a lot before, but where do
Mm-hmm.
you see yourself like going? Like where do what's is do you have like a destination series or where do
Mm-hmm.
you feel like you need where do you feel like where do you feel like you might head?
Like I said, I'd love to be in IMSA, but it's really just a successful career in motorsports for me. So I think with the MX5 Cup being in the IMSA paddock, that'll offer me a lot of opportunities to network and things like that to move up to the next level. But I do plan on staying in these kind of entry level pro series for a while to try to gain that respect and that experience before moving up to the next level because I think that's very important for me to develop my skill set, respect, relationships, and all that. Um, but there's really no destination series for me at the moment. Just a successful career in motorsports, being a paid driver and doing what I love to do.
All right. All right, Weston, let's get to know you a little bit. How about that?
Mm-hmm. Sounds
Best
good. Let's do it.
okay, best racing memory that you have.
I have two. So this year I won the Spec MX5 championship race at VIR, and that was a great win for me. It was pretty emotional. So my mom was there, my dad was there, my uncle was there, my cousin was there. So a lot of the family was there. So it was really special for me. And then also after the race, I got to take a victory lap with my dad. He was in the passenger seat, but our cars don't have any passenger seats. So he was kind of like sitting on the floor on the cool box. We have these cool boxes in our cars that
Yeah.
run cold water through our shirts. So he kind of sat on that. It was really uncomfortable, but it was really special for him and I to kind of just because he had never been in a race car with me before. So as we were going around for the victory lap, he was hanging out the window holding the checkered flag. And then I was kind of taking them around the track and showing them the elevation change, where I'm applying the throttle here, where I'm braking here, where the apex is, how you hit this corner. And it was really cool because I'd never done that with them before. So that's my first special win. And then another special win that I had was my first national karting race win. It was 2019 USPKS at GoPro Motorplex. Well, what now is Trackhouse Motorplex.
Yep.
Um, it was a Sunday final race, and I was the competition, and so I was racing in KA Junior at the time, and the competition was pretty stout. That race, we had two world champions racing in that race, respects of Connor Zilish and Brent Cruz. I mean, they're amazing drivers.
Yeah.
So that race was also took place on Father's Day as well. So I won that race, and it was just really special to get my first national race for me, my first national race win for me, and then also win it on Father's Day for my dad. And I gave a speech at the end of the race, and I was thanking all the dads out there that support their sons in their racing careers and what they love to do, and then especially my dad. And my family was there too. My mom was there, and they both support me a lot.
Yeah. All right. Favorite, what's your favorite movie?
Fast and Furious for sure. The
Okay.
Fast and Furious series. It got kind of sketchy at the end there. So like after six, it gets kind of weird. But the first one through five, six is kind of pushing it. Five was almost pushing it too, pushing the boundaries of realism. Um, but I'd say Tokyo Drift is my favorite out of the whole series for
Okay.
sure.
All right. I know you do a lot of traveling, but
Hmm.
sure if you're the one driving or flying, but if you have time to do this, what's a TV or streaming show you're really into right now or have been into in the past?
Um, there's none that I'm really into right now. I've always been a movie guy, but in the past, I've kind of just watched all the mainstream TV shows that have popped up. So like Squid Game had a little run there, All American,
Yeah.
Outer Banks. What are the other mainstream
Tiger
shows?
King. Wait, no, no,
Um,
not Tiger King. No way.
uh, so I've watched all three of those. I mean, they were pretty good, but I've always just been a movie guy because like you said, I don't really have a lot of time to like get into a show or binge watch anything. But those are the three main ones, and they're pretty standard, right? I mean, I think everybody who watches Netflix has seen those.
Those,
Um,
yeah, I know you might have to take some of those big flights, so that's what you might do.
yeah, yeah, exactly.
Yeah. All right. By the way, let's end it on this. What is something people do not know about you? Like an
Something that people
interesting,
don't know about me.
it's like an
Um,
interesting fact or something.
for you, there's probably nothing, but I would say, when I'm meeting someone new, like how often do they meet a race car driver, right? So that's something really interesting about me to the general public that they find it interesting about me because like I'll say that and then they'll be like, "Oh, really?" So and then they'll always have like a cool story or a family member that did
Yeah.
it or a friend that did it or they know nothing about it. And I think that's the really cool part of it because it it allows for me to have a really good conversation with them about it and I can talk to them about it because it's something I'm passionate about, right? So I can go on for days talking about racing.
Oh, yeah.
Usually just inserts that cool conversation that we can have, and then it's I'm memorable, right? So they remember me by my name and that I'm a race car driver, right? So all throughout high school, I was kind of just known as the race car driver. Um, and then in middle school, I did go karting, and I was kind of known as the go karter, but go karting wasn't as cool because everybody thought it was just like adventure park go karting, right? They're like, "Oh, I can beat you." I'm just like, okay,
Yeah.
but the race car driving, I think everybody can knows what race car driving is. I mean, they always ask me if I'm a NASCAR driver, but it's just a cool conversation starter that I can talk to people about, and that they definitely wouldn't expect that of me because people think I play basketball or football, or they would never guess a race car driver. So that's definitely a cool factor
Yeah.
about me that people wouldn't know.
Sure. All right. Weston, thanks so much for the time and congrats on again on winning the scholarship.
I really appreciate that.
We'll look forward to talking with you again, maybe before Daytona.
Yes, sir. Thank you, Casey. I appreciate it. Thank you for having me.